Right now, on to the point.
We all want these encampments to go away. We all want people to be housed.
Governor Newsom's new task force aiming to address the homeless crisis. 20 years ago today, Hurricane Katrina wiped out entire communities. Tonight, the resilience and rebuilding in the Gulf Coast. Decision day at the state capitol. From gun safety to smog regulations, the bill's moving forward or failing in the legislature. And on the back roads, no snow, no problem. A ride down a famous alpine slide delivering thrills for generations. John Bartell, always keeping us entertained. As always, thank you so much for joining us this evening on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and a new statewide task force is focused on removing homeless camps. The governor made the announcement just a couple hours ago. It'll target camps on state property in California's 10 largest cities, including right here in Sacramento. ABC 10's Becca Hobegger joins us live in studio. And Becca, from what we understand, the governor does want to move very quickly on this, right?
Yeah, his office says within the next 30 days, the task force will focus on encampment operations throughout the state. Sacramento is the only city in our area that the task force will target. So I spoke with the mayor and advocates for the unhoused community about what this means here.
Let's face it, homelessness is a #1 issue in Sacramento and cities across California. We can't do it alone. It takes the city of Sacramento, like the county, the state, heck, even the federal government too.
Sacramento Mayor Kevin McCarty says he welcomes help from the new SAFE task force. That's State Action for Facilitation on Encampments.
At the end of the day, we are all in this together.
Governor Newsom's office announced the new task force Friday. It brings together resources from a variety of agencies and departments. The goal is to quickly remove camps on state rights-of-way and help connect people with wraparound supportive services and shelter all within the next 30 days.
The timing is unrealistic. We're not going to magically have the services to support people's transition out of unsheltered homelessness in 30 days.
Nikki Jones of the Sacramento Regional Coalition to End Homelessness says she thinks the governor's task force is more about sweeping encampments than actually helping those experiencing homelessness.
Gavin's priority is to remove visible encampments in order to please the people who are uncomfortable with seeing the poverty. We need to address the root issues instead of the visual aesthetic symptoms.
In Friday's news release, Newsom says he is pairing urgency with dignity, restoring safe, usable public spaces while providing care for Californians living in dangerous encampments.
We all want these encampments to go away. We all want people to be housed. I think we share those goals.
Dr. Margot Kuchel is a professor of medicine at UCSF, where she directs the Benioff Homelessness and Housing Initiative. She says she's hopeful about the governor's new task force if it follows the research.
We know that you can very effectively resolve encampments by bringing the services and the housing that people in those encampments need.
It takes time to build trust between people in the camps and those offering services, and she worries 30 days isn't enough.
Let the community control the timing and trust, because if you offer them real things, they will accept it.
Mayor McCarty says Sacramento is expanding its shelter capacity. Just this week, he unveiled an additional 135 new tiny home transitional housing shelters going up at the city's Roseville Road campus.
And they were funded in large part through a partnership through the governor's encampment program a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So, this is welcome news to help us clean up encampments, but also connect people that are homeless to services and shelter facilities.
Also this week, the city enacted a ban on camping outside City Hall, something Jones said was traumatic for the unhoused community there. McCarty says on September 16th, the city is going to unveil 4 new locations throughout the city. He called them microsites, where more housing will be built. More on that next month.
I'm about to sign the law that creates the one big, beautiful map that ensures fairer representation in the United States Congress for Texans.
Well, that's Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Today, he signed into law a new congressional voting map designed to help Republicans gain more seats in the 2026 midterm elections. Outnumbered Democrats tried to stop the Texas vote. At one point, they even staged a 2-week walkout. Democrats have vowed to challenge the map in court. And now Missouri is entering the redistricting fight. Today, Republican Governor Mike Keogh announced a special session to redraw congressional maps. The move comes after pressure from President Donald Trump Trump and his allies who are working to expand the GOP's narrow majority in the House. The proposed map unveiled today could put Republicans on track to win 7 out of the state's 8 House seats in next year's midterm elections. Democrats have denounced that effort. And here in California, voters will be the ones deciding whether to move forward with a newly drawn congressional map. Proposition 50 will appear on the ballot in a special election on November 4th of this year. It is right around the corner. Now, if voters approve California's redistricting measure, it would reshape the political map for the 2026 midterms, potentially giving Democrats a 3 to 5 seat gain in Congress. The maps are already drawn. The ballot measure is essentially upholding them. Legal challenges are expected, particularly from Republicans, but unless courts intervene, the new districts would be in place for 2026. Lawmakers today spent deciding the fate of hundreds of bills. The process known as the suspense file hearing is where the appropriations committees of both houses rule if fiscal bills will move forward or are held at the desk. Bills need to be decided before the legislative session adjourns on September 12th. Now, Assembly Bill 1127, the so-called DIY machine gun bill, made it out of committee today and now heads to the Senate. If passed, the bill would ban the sale of firearms that can be easily converted into automatic weapons with a small device that's known as a switch. Gun rights advocates argue the legislation unfairly targets manufacturers. A bill that would add a warning label to social media sites passed out of the Senate Appropriations Committee with a vote of 5-2, with Republicans voting against it. Known as the social media warning law, would require a warning message highlighting the risks to mental health of young users. It would be displayed at least once a day when someone visits a social media site, and again every hour after 3 hours of cumulative use. And a bill supported by celebrity car enthusiast Jay Leno failed to advance today. Senate Bill 712, dubbed Leno's Law, would relax smog rules for classic cars. It proposed a full exemption for collector vehicles 35 years and older. Next, on To the Point, after more than a decade, a community can finally dive back in. A newly reopened pool making a splash just in time for Labor Day weekend. And 20 years after Hurricane Katrina, a return to the Gulf Coast and the region's journey from heartbreak to hope.
Well, for the long weekend, it's going to be a hot one. I'm tracking triple digits Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and possibly continuing it into next week as well. I've got the forecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. The Sunrise Mall in Citrus Heights is a step closer to being transformed. The city announced a new appraisal to give them a fair understanding of the property's market value. The appraisal is part of their strategic information gathering step as they move forward with their Sunrise Tomorrow vision of a vibrant destination. 5 Sacramento restaurants will start accepting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as payment. Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley made the announcement today, calling this another step forward as restaurant chains embrace the future of finance. Jim Boy's Tacos is one of the restaurants taking part of the pilot program. President Donald Trump canceled former Vice President Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. Former vice presidents typically get federal protection for 6 months after leaving office. For Harris, that period ended on July 21st, but was extended by then President Joe Biden. Trump has canceled that extension. Well, some good news for those of you out in Stockton. As we head into a warm Labor Day weekend, the swimming pool at Victory Park is now reopened after 12 years and around $10 million. The new and improved 75-foot pool opened about an hour ago, and the pool also comes with a new splash pad. Enjoy. All right, let's get things over to meteorologist Brenda Minchef. Another warm day, warm days ahead for the holiday weekend, right? People should be safe out there.
Yeah, definitely be prepared for the heat. We're going back into the hundreds for the long weekend and potentially into the middle part of next week as well. It was 93 today, though, not that far away from seasonal, but still a couple degrees warmer than normal in Sacramento. 96 in Stockton, 94 in Modesto, 91 in Auburn, 75 in South Lake Tahoe, and 75 in Truckee. Temperatures across the valley at the moment in those low to middle 90s for many, although Elk Grove currently at 88, 90 in Sacramento, 95 Marysville, 97 up in Colusa, 92 in Stockton, 93 in Modesto, 70s up in the high high country. Low temperatures to start Saturday morning in the low to middle 60s. It'll be a mild start across the valley, a little bit above the average low for the time of year of 58 degrees, but we are back near and above the century mark for Saturday afternoon with expected widespread triple digits across the valley. About 101 up in Oroville, 103 in Colusa, 101 in Roseville, 100 in Sacramento, 102 in Fairfield, about 99 Stockton, 102 in Manteca, 99 in Modesto, and we're looking at those mid to upper 90s across the foothills as well, low 80s up in the Sierra. So that departure from normal is about 10 degrees warmer than normal through the long weekend, especially on Monday with that forecast of 101. No weather impact alert though for the weekend, and the big reason why is that the morning temperatures are not that abnormal. We're going to be in the low to middle 60s all weekend long to start Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. If you think back to the last time we were in the triple digits, just about a week ago, we had that weather impact alert because we had morning temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s. So that is the big difference. But you see the high pressure building in as we head through the holiday weekend, staying overhead as we move through next week, although the heat will come down a little bit after about Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be in those upper 90s and then lower 90s as we head into next weekend. But of course, the 3-day weekend that's just around the corner, it's hot. Highs at and just above 100, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. A deadly storm and a city underwater. Tonight, how Gulf Coast communities are still bouncing back from Hurricane Katrina. And from beauty products to home goods, a new rule shaking up how Americans shop online, what it means for your next delivery.
We remember all of those who endured this tragedy along with us. We remember them with our compassion. We remember them with our empathy. We remember them with our sorrow and our remorse.
Watch your head, watch your head.
Today marks 2 decades since one of the most catastrophic natural disasters in American history. 20 years after Hurricane Katrina left behind a path of death and destruction, we find inspiring stories of resilience, as well as some powerful updates on communities who are still rebuilding.
August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina made landfall along the U.S. Gulf Coast. ABC's Robin Roberts was there after it hit, brought to tears as she reported on the unimaginable death and destruction.
You hadn't been able to make contact with your own family yet. Have you done so?
They're okay.
They're okay? Because I know they're right there on the Gulf Coast. Mom's okay, sister's okay?
They're all right.
Robin getting a first-hand look back then at what Katrina left behind.
I had never in my entire life seen that kind of destruction.
Now, 20 years later, traveling to New Orleans, the scene of so much devastation and despair in the days following Katrina. Today, the city's recovery shaped not just by rebuilding efforts, but by the revival of its vibrant music scene. Just months after the storm, in April of 2006, Jazz Fest returned to New Orleans, an event that symbolized hope and resilience. Robin recently visited with New Orleans native Harry Connick Jr. at the city's Jazz Museum.
It's a phrase you hear a lot, the birthplace of jazz, but it was the birthplace of everything I did. I mean, everything I started as a child started here, and I don't think I would be the person I am had I been from somewhere else.
She also traveled back to her hometown.
There's no discounting the destruction and the pain that New Orleans went through, but the eye of the storm went over the Mississippi Gulf Coast, not far from my home of Pasquishan.
Her high school destroyed.
Science over there, math over there.
A new building now stands in its place.
Wow. I cannot believe that is the high school. They brought a lot of the memorabilia from the old high school. Still, it's kind of tugs at you. You don't have your high school.
Katrina was a devastating natural disaster, but the rebuilding began almost immediately.
All day, I was inspired by the regular people who put their own lives on hold to come here and pitch in.
Talk about being resilient. This is something about the South. You're not knocking us down completely.
20 years after the storm, that resilience continues.
To mark 20 years since Hurricane Katrina, we are bringing you a 1-hour special, Katrina, the Storm That Changed Us, and you can stream that for free right now on ABC 10+. Well, billions of packages of so-called cheap goods shipped to the United States are now subject to steep tariffs. As of today, a loophole that reshaped the way American shops has expired. Here's a look at what it could mean for your online shopping.
A big change for American customers looking to buy low-value goods from abroad. After nearly a century, the de minimis rule, which has allowed some packages to enter the United States duty-free or exempt from certain taxes, is no more.
It's a massive impact.
Since 2015, the exemption applied to packages worth less than $800, allowing ultra-low-cost e-commerce sites to take off, as they sold and shipped everything from clothing to furniture to electronics directly to American shoppers.
In 2012, there was only $50 million of inventory entered the U.S. under this exemption. And last year, that was over $65 billion.
Now, following this latest trade move from the Trump administration, all imported goods, regardless of value, are subject to 10 to 50% tariff rates, depending on their country of origin, or in some cases, a flat fee of $80 to $200, but just for the next 6 months. As a result, a slew of delivery services from countries across the world have suspended shipping some small packages to the U.S.
It is probable that you may see not only delays in those packages getting here even farther, but often start to see items pop up in the cart saying, here's the new fee for the effective duties and tariffs.
So what could be impacted? Trendy sunscreens and serums from Korean beauty websites, matcha from online Japanese vendors, and even recently popular tinned fish from European sites. A potential benefit to some American small businesses.
What they're trying to do is to have people buy local. Whether that's realistically possible, we'll have to see.
Spirit Airlines filed for bankruptcy again. The company filed for Chapter 11 protection today. That's just months after its last restructuring in March. It is the second time this year Spirit has filed for bankruptcy. The carrier has been losing money since its failed JetBlue merger. Right after the break, Bartell's Backroads takes us to a scenic spot, giving families a downhill thrill for generations. Well, you never know what you'll see on the back roads, and tonight John Bartell takes us over the California border and straight into Oregon to ride the Alpine Slide at Mount Hood Ski Bowl.
Snow or no snow, Mount Hood Ski Bowl's been giving people a downhill thrill since 1928. It's one of the oldest ski resorts in the country, and it turns out you don't even need skis to scream your way down the mountain.
This is the famous Alpine Slide. This was installed in 1981. So families have been riding this for generations, but it's almost like a winter bobsled. You're coming down the mountain, you've got some high-end corners, and you've got the view of Mount Hood your whole way down.
Before fiberglass sleds and the summer bobsled runs, this place was making ski history. In 1928, the first jump hill was installed. In 1937, the first rope tow. And by 1946, the first two-man chairlift.
Why do they call it Ski Bowl? Ski Bowl, it's a giant bowl up top. So they just named it as simple as Ski Bowl.
Well, you better not be afraid of heights, because if you want to ride the Alpine Slide, you must first jump on the chairlift, which takes you up 2,000 feet in elevation in a matter of minutes. The ride down, though, well, much faster.
You can reach speeds up to about 40 miles an hour. A lot of these kids you'll see they're kind of breaking around the corners and taking it slow. And the speed is up to you. So we do have two tracks. We call one the scenic track and one the experience track.
Once at the top of the slide, gravity does the rest of the work. A handbrake between your legs controls your speed, but I suggest letting it rip. This quarter-mile track has two side-by-side runs, one scenic and one for the thrill seekers. Either side has an amazing view of Mount Hood. In fact, it's so beautiful that my wife and I got married at Ski Bowl back in 2017. And if sliding down the mountain isn't enough, Ski Bowl has a full amusement park in the summer with go-karts, bungee jumping, and a high-flying treetop obstacle course.
That's a long ways down!
Well, from the ski slopes in the upper bowl to the warp speed Alpine Slide in the summer, Mount Hood Ski Bowl has been making memories for nearly a century now.
From the Alpine Slide at Mount Hood Ski Bowl, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
And to find more Bartell's Backroads destinations on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app, they are under the Shows tab. Just scroll all the way down to Travel, Bartell's Backroads, and that app, of course, is free to download straight to your TV. And speaking of the app, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, you can catch up on all the amazing places that John Bartell has taken us to. You can also catch up on redistricting. And we also had a new special airing called Hidden Homicides. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. Our investigations team worked so hard on it, and we'll have more episodes coming up next week. But as always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. And it goes without saying, if you have something going on in your community that you want us to know about, please reach out to our team. We love to hear from you anytime, any day. Thank you so much. Have a great, safe weekend. I'll see you right back here on Monday.